Hashtag the basement floor is real. My name is Dave Cannon, of course. I'm your host throughout this event this evening. And I have got a person on the line right now. He is a legend in the truest sense of the word. When I say legend, there's a lot of legends out there. There's a lot of people that y'all may consider a legend, especially a hip-hop legend. This man right here that I'm about to bring in is the complete epitome of legendness. He is a legendary status. I don't even know what to say, so I'm gonna put him in like this. The man right now, he's so full of action, his name should be a verb. Just so that you can be specific, he will lay down one day, but his rhymes, they will remain like a hieroglyphic. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring to you the king, Asiatic, nobody's equal. Put your hands together for Big Daddy Kane!
That's what's up.
Kane, what's good, man? You there?
I'm good, man. I need you on stage with me, brother. I love that intro.
Listen, man, they don't give the legendary status to these legends enough of what they need to, man. I'm telling you, you were epic back in when we were coming up, man. That hip hop was just crazy, man. Now you're living out here. You're in North Carolina, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long you been out here?
Since 2000.
Okay, that's what's up. All right. So listen, Kane, I'm gonna go right to it. Let me tell you my background. Now I'm like a hip hop. I'm hip hop. I'm hip hop. And so I'm coming up in 86, 87. And, back then, with the new stuff, there was really your Rakims and your KRS-Ones. And they were, everyone heard Eric B. as president, thought I was a donut, tried to glaze me. Crazy track. I'm from the Bronx, so I kind of leaned more towards the BDP KRS-One. The Bridge is Over. I just thought it was crazy. It was the ultimate underdog coming back up against, the Juice Crew at that time, where you had Shan, you had Shantae, you had Mr. Magic, all that. So I'm like, I'm going to ride with the Bronx, KRS-One. The people always talked about then who would win, KRS-One, Rakim. I'm no disrespect to anyone. I'm going with KRS-One just because that's home team. Around 88 comes around and I hear the next album, which we got My Philosophy. I'm still number one. I'm like, we're killing it. I'm like, we're winning. Home team. Nobody's touching us. And then I heard this song in the summer of 88 and it started off, it went. And from there, the beat dropped and I heard this lyrical acrobats that was just so crazy, right? But in my mind, like outwardly, I'm saying, yo, Chris, we still got this. I mean, BDP, we still got this. But in my mind, I was saying to myself, yo, this might be a dude that can really get with him. In my mind, I was like, I don't know, I'm rocking with home team, but I don't know because this dude's got it all. Lyricism. Then I heard Set It Off, Raw, heard everything. Kane, back then, what was that like coming up? You're doing these songs, you're releasing them. What was that? What did that feel like for you?
I mean, I was having a great time because, it's like prior to that, I was going from neighborhood to neighborhood, battling other different rappers, at block parties, house parties, or sometimes just, at their high school. And, to actually be able to go in the studio, record songs and even approach, from a more different, diverse standpoint where it's not always just battle rhymes. Sometimes it's about girls. Sometimes it's about, conscious stuff going on in the world. To be able to do that and have it being heard by people all over the world, it was amazing. And I was, happy to be doing it.
How did it start? Did you used to write with Biz, or you worked with Biz when Biz was coming up? How did the whole Marley Marl and get the introduction and all that stuff lead to the album?
Well, me and Biz, we met back like in '84, and he used to take me to a lot of parties that he was doing. Because like I said, I was going to like block parties, house parties. Biz was actually performing at hip-hop events, opening up for artists like Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, Salt and Pepper, artists that were out in the mid-'80s.
Right. He
was opening up for them. And he would take me to these places and he would beatbox and I would rhyme. So I was actually doing shows with Biz, at that early age while I was still in high school. And eventually he got hooked up with Marley Marl and Juice Crew and all of them. And when he finally got on, he brought me back in to write a lot of the stuff on his first album.
Mm-hmm. And from there, that's how you got, I guess, the Marley connection. And you eventually rapped yourself, and they got, what was your first record that you did with Marley that it actually hit and someone said, okay, well, listen, we need to put this guy in front of the mic as opposed to have him write for it?
Well, what happened was the day Biz was doing Nobody Beats the Biz, I came there to bring him the rhymes and Marley like put the chain on the door and was talking to me with the door cracked, saying that Biz ain't there and this and that. And I'm like, yo, I just took the train all the way from Brooklyn, supposed to meet him here. He like, Biz ain't here. I don't know what to tell you. So I just was like, all right, well, look, just if he come, these the rhymes he's supposed to say that they just give them to him. And then Marley was like, oh, you write for Biz? And he was like, how it go? And I said a little bit of Nobody Beats the Biz joint. Then he opened the door and told me to come in. He was like, yo, you rap too? I'm like, yeah. He asked me to spit something, and I rhymed. And he was like, yo, you dope. You know, we should work on something. And I believe that day we did, I think we did I'll Take You There that day.
Mm. Okay, and so so the legend started with that. And did he bring you to the label to actually get the deal, or y'all was just working on demos and then seeing where that was going to go?
Well, Marley was, just a producer. I was signed by Fly Ty. He was the one who had the deal. Like with Marley, I guess, was telling him, yo, Biz man Kane is nice. He can rhyme, like rhyme, and then, eventually, the time came where, Fly Ty was willing to sign me, and, that's what happened.
So now, as y'all form, at this point, are you Juice Crew? Are you known about Juice Crew, or are you just an artist that's kind of coming in, or is the Juice Crew even formed in its formulated state at that point?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, the Juice Crew was formed by Mr. Magic. That had been going on way before Shan and Shantae was even down. Like original Juice Crew members are actually Melly Mel from the Furious Five, Mighty Mike C from the Fearless Four, Sweet G that had the games people play.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was Mr. Magic's original Juice Crew, and then eventually, when he went to BLS, and he became that dude for breaking records. I guess him and Fly Ty, to figure we need to have our own artists, and that's when they got Shantae, and and she blew up with Roxanne's Revenge, and then they brought in Shan, and then Biz, and we just kept growing.
So you guys were like the second generation, I guess, of the of Juice Crew.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so now you got the whole, as you're coming out, which is kind of around that same time, you've got the whole BDP MC Shan battle going on. At any point, did you feel that you may have to get involved in that? Did you feel was there any pressure from the home team that said, hey, we got these guys, you got G-Rap, you got Kane, I know Ace and Craig J, I think were a little younger. Was there any pressure that said, hey, we need to get these guys in front of the mic so that they can end this? Or was it strictly a Shan thing and no one else was going to get involved and it was going to be what it was going to be?
Shan wanted to hold his own. Shan never asked nobody to get it. All Shan, was like, he wanted to hold his own. What happened was Fly Ty at the very end, like after Bridges Over had dropped, he asked me to get in. He came to me and said, yo, I need you to end this. And at that present time, me and Shan didn't really get along. We good friends now. That's like my brother. But at the time, we didn't really get along. And KRS One and Miss Melody, they were the ones that helped me move out of my mother's house into my first apartment. And me and Chris was always cool. So when he asked me to end this, I was like, nah. I'm like, I'm not getting in that. I'm like, KRS is cool with me. I'm like, Shan, don't even you refer to me by my real name.
So
I'm like,
What did you think when you heard The Bridge Is Over from an MC perspective? What did you think?
When I heard The Bridge Is Over, well, first of all, it was the type of thing where, like, I think Kill That Noise dropped on a Friday night, and The Bridge Is Over dropped that Saturday night. So it was like clear that KRS had been sitting on this, waiting for Shan's response to South Bronx.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, this dude is very tactful. I mean, he got it together. He know what he's doing as a battle rapper. And I mean, it was a dope song. It was a dope song.
Did you feel that was going to be something that was going to end it for, it seemed like Chris was, he never really says Juice Crew really in that song. He mentions Shantae, he mentions Magic and the crew. Did you?
I thought he did. I thought he did say Juice Crew.
Everybody's talking about the Juice Crew, funny, but you're still telling lies to me.
You know what? He may have said Juice Crew.
I think he did say Juice Crew. It's just that he named Magic, Marley, Shan, and Shantae. He never mentioned me or Biz or G-Rap.
Right. Did you think then that with that, so you never thought that there would be pressure from you to respond from a Juice Crew template, not necessarily a Shan template, but from Juice Crew? Well, you guys were cool, I guess. So I guess you never really looked at it like that.
Well, I mean, at the present time, like I said, it was the type of thing where me and Chris was cool and me and Shan wasn't.
Right.
And Fly Ty was still telling me, yo, you down, but you not quite Juice Crew yet. So it's like for you to come to me, when they get funky and say, yo, I need you to end this. It's like, oh, so now you want to make me Juice Crew.
Right.
But it's, but it was the type of thing where it was like, like I said, Chris was my man. Like he embraced me and showed me mad love from day one that I wasn't even receiving properly in my own camp.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I felt uncomfortable going at him.
Right.
Even though that was like, really, like, honestly, that was like my dream battle. Like,
really?
The battle KRS-One, because I really respected his battle skills. I was like, this would be an interesting battle.
Wait a second, Kane. Are you saying that your dream battle perspective back then was to battle Blastmaster KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, toe-to-toe on a battle?
Yeah, that was like the dream battle like I had, because it was like, other than just that, I was there the night at the Latin Quarters when KRS battled Melly Mel. And I saw that battle. This was before Poetry had came out, and he said that verse from Poetry about I'm like an arrow and Scott is the crossbow, say something now, and looked at Mel's face and said, thought so, and stopped the rhyme right there. And I mean, the crowd went crazy, and I was like, yo, yeah, this dude is nice. And then also we was in Canada and battled artists out there. I remember KRS saying something. It was something real simple he said, but it was the way he said it. Something like, your DJ cut so soft, going jigger, jigger, jigger. Compared to Scott LaRock, he's just another stupid nigga. And I was like, this dude, yeah. I'm like, I wonder what would happen. Like, I really have to step my game up against this dude. But that night after the Canadian battle, he came over to the bar and bought me a Heineken and was like, yo, because he heard me doing funny rhymes on stage with Biz, because I didn't have a song out then.
Right.
And he came over. That was his first time actually hearing me really spit real rhymes. And he was like, yo, you actually nice. Like, I didn't know you could rhyme like that. I'm used to you doing the funny stuff with Biz, man. He's like, yo, you really got into dude, man. Yo, you want a drink or something? And, we got cool. Like, that's how me and KRS got cool.
I heard, now, correct me if I'm wrong. I heard this as a rumor, and this may or may not be true. I heard that the night KRS battled Melly Mel, that you were actually could have battled Melly Mel the same night. Maybe there was some money that was offered to battle you, and you turned it down.
What happened was, like, Mel was right by the coat check when you come up the stairs in the quarters, by all the mirrors, and he was starting with Biz. As soon as me and Biz walked in, Melly Mel started with Biz, telling Biz that he ain't paid no dues, out here fronting like, he ain't no real MC and all this here stuff. And he's like, well, let's take it to the stage. Prove it. Let's battle. And Biz was telling him, I'm not a battle rapper. You want to battle? Battle my man right here.
Right.
And, at first I'm feeling like, because I always felt like Melly Mel was the reason why I graduated from high school. So I'm like, nah, I can't do it to Mel. I don't want to do it to Mel. But then when Biz said that, Mel was like, Mel said, who the fuck is he? So I'm like, okay, yeah, Mel can get it tonight. Mel can definitely get it tonight. But he wasn't interested in battling me. He felt like there was a new generation of rappers coming out making records that didn't pay dues, like him and the Furious Five, and he wanted to see if they were real MCs by battling them. So he started with Biz first, asking Biz to battle, but Biz told him to battle me. But I guess he felt like I wasn't on his level or whatever. But then he started later on with KRS, and that's when it happened.
And well, I heard Chris speak on an interview recently where then he gave him much respect. I mean, the element of hip hop and the things that you guys did back then, what made it so just crazy was the level of respect, manhood, and just the camaraderie in it. In terms of keeping a professional, with the art itself. Let me ask you this now. Let's go to Big Daddy Kane, but long live the Kane. Raw, set it off. On the bug tip, ain't no half stepping. When you're writing this stuff, like seriously, like people talk all the time about great albums. Like you will always hear an argument. Always, we even had on the podcast of KRS-One versus Rakim, Criminal Minded versus Paid in Full. Nobody gives all the attention that it needs to Long Live the Kane. When you listen to that album, the lyrics, the flow, the style, every song on there is a complete banger. What's going through your mind as you're doing that album? And are you seeing that this album may be what it eventually becomes, a legendary hip hop album, or are you just putting on some rhymes and just seeing if this thing can work or not?
I mean, it's the type of thing where, I wanted to make some songs that defines Big Daddy Kane. I want the world to know how nice I am, so I give you raw, set it off, ain't no half stepping. And then after that, now I want to make some real songs like that pertain to different things that make you feel a different way. You know what I mean? On the bug tip is like reminiscent to the late 70s, style of hip hop, paying homage to that era. Just fun party joint.
Right.
Then you have I'll Take You There, that's a conscious song, Word to the Motherland. Just stuff like that,
Now there was.
I tried to,
You also produced most of this, right? Molly I know wound up the stuff, but I've also heard that you actually produced most of this stuff as well on most of the first two or three albums, no?
Absolutely. Molly was more or less the engineer, but it's like, there's a great, gritty sound that came out of Marley's studio that, I guess, something that he had an understanding of that a lot of us didn't really, wasn't really aware of as far as like sound wise. But Marley, honestly speaking, he was more or less of an engineer, but he did produce I'll Take You There and The Day You're Mine.
Right. Okay, now, Kane, I got to ask you this. Your flow, how did you, what made you so unique to me was, Ra had that flow. Ra has that baritone, that flow rhythm. It's almost like a saxophone that just goes. And Chris had that intellectual kind of wordplay, creative, witty stuff. You had a mix of both, but your flow, like, what did you go through? What's your mindset like when you put things together, like do a show, Good to Go, also Cameo, Afro? How are you doing that? You were probably the first artist in that era that I heard really put the word play on each syllable, literally. How did you do that intentionally, or is this just a flow that you had been doing for a while?
You really have to do your homework and check out Grandmaster Caz. It'll all make sense then.
Okay, because you're talking about the tree basically, where we've got Caz, Melly Mel, and Kool Moe Dee, which birthed Kane, Rakim, and Chris, and that. Okay, I got you on that. Very, very good. Listen, you perfected it to a level that was just crazy with it. Just crazy with it. The Wrath of Kane. We never got to hear that on the actual LP of Long Live the Kane, and we didn't get to really hear it as an LP version, as a record version on Big Daddy Thing, but we heard it on live. Was that supposed to, what was that supposed to be for? Or was that just a song that was off of a theme music?
Well, what happened was I wanted Set It Off to be the next single after Ain't No Half Stepping.
Right.
Warner Brothers wanted to go with something more commercial, and they wanted to do the I'll Take You There. I didn't think I'll Take You There was the right record, so I asked, can we make Set It Off at least the B-side? They said no, just in case we decide to make it the third single. But I'm like, I just felt like where we was with Ain't No Half Stepping, I'll Take You There is going to make us lose them. So I just went in and just did a whole new record. I just did a whole new record just to have something that was street to, keep that momentum going that was built from Half Stepping and Raw.
Right.
And, so the album was already out. So I just did this. And then when it was time to do the album, one night just hanging at the Apollo, I just came out and just did it live. Like, this wasn't even a show. I was just hanging at the Apollo, and I came out and did it live. And then Ralph Cooper told me that they recorded it. So, we got that from the Apollo and just decided to put the live album on the album because I'm thinking about how dope Marvin Gaye Distant Lover was live.
Right.
I'm like, this might be something interesting from a hip hop standpoint. So we put the live version on.
Okay, so that album is a crazy album, as we've already said. You got a line on there that says, "Rap soloist, you don't want none of this." So apparently, as legend has it, the R got wind of some of that and maybe thought that was maybe a shot towards him. And then somewhere after your first LP, there was this rumor that you and the R may actually set up a battle, or there was, he had a song that maybe he did on his next album that he changed up the lyrics. What was the deal with that?
Well, I mean, it's like at that time, me, Ra, and KRS, that we were like really that top three. So everybody wanted like two of us to battle, whoever maybe they wanted, us to battle. And, I had people that were saying like, yo, Ra talking about you. When he said word to daddy, indeed, he talking about you.
Mm.
And I'm like, it was the type of thing with me and Eric B. Me and Eric B. hung out on the regular.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't think, Eric would allow that, since, we cool with each other like that. But, and then, long story short, basically what happened was one day some girl had a photo and it said something about break the rap in half. And she was saying that she heard the song and Eric B. played it for her. And she's telling me all this in front of Eric B. brother. Not even realizing it.
Right.
She's lying in front of his brother. So that's when Eric brother said, yo, this is getting too out of hand, man. Yo, y'all need to talk. So Eric B. brother called Rakim, put me on the phone with him, and we talked. And, he asked me about the rap soloist. You don't want none of this. And I'm like, bruh, I'm saying that I'm a rap soloist. Competition don't want none of this.
Right.
I'm like, you're not the only soloist, I'm like, Heavy D and the boys, but, the boys there. So Heavy D is a soloist. Anybody that rhyme alone is a soloist.
Right.
I'm saying I'm the rap soloist. Competition, you don't want none of this. This ain't got nothing to do with you. I'm like, my dude, I rode on your tour bus. I mean, why would I, come at you that way? If we had a problem, I would have been came and addressed it with you.
Right.
And then I asked him about the word to daddy, and he told me that, nah, it wasn't like that. That was just some Long Island slang that they say. Like people say word to mom, word to mommy, they say word to daddy. And, we left it at that.
Okay, so it wasn't ever any real friction. Were you guys ever plan on setting up an actual battle though, just for the sake of competing or no?
Well, we wasn't. I don't know if you remember this pay-per-view event called Rap Mania that they did back in, I think, 88 or 89. Maybe 89, I can't remember. But they did this pay-per-view event called Rap Mania. And the following year, it did so good that, the dude got more money. And the following year, he wanted to do it where there would be hip-hop battles. And he was setting it up for the Furious Five to battle the Cold Crush, Shantae to battle Sparky D. But the two main things he was trying to make happen was Mo D versus LL, me versus Rakim. And apparently LL said that he would do it if he can confirm Kane and Rakim. So, he asked me about it, and I think we were getting offered like $50,000, which was way more than, because back then, the most we were seeing was like maybe like 15,000 a night.
Right.
That was the most we was getting back then. And they were offering like $50,000 to each one of us to do it. And I was like, I'm in. And then they called me and said, they can't confirm Eric and Ra. Can I talk to them? And like I said, Eric is my man. So I called Eric like, yo, this $50K, dog, like what's up?
Right.
And, Eric being sarcastic, he all, oh, no, we gonna bust your ass, Kane. We gonna bust your ass. Don't worry about that. That's a done deal, So I'm like, all right. So I hit the Van Silk cat back, and I'm like, yeah, I talked to Eric. And he said it's going down. I'm like, reach out to him. And then I think a couple of days later, he hit me again and said, yeah, I don't think it's Eric, man. He said, can you reach out and talk to Rakim? And I'm like, I don't know dude like that.
Right.
So, it never happened.
hip hop back then, man, 88, 89, before your next album comes out, what's the vibe of most MCs? Because you really came out of what would appear nowhere from behind the scenes and really became like a force. And then, the Big Daddy thing had some commercial success as well. How are the other MCs embracing you? Your Heavy D's, your LL Cool J's, just your regular MCs. It seems like from the outside that it's really about fun. Back in that time's party raps and stuff. What's the vibe like behind the scenes?
I mean, it was all love. I mean, like Eric B, DMC, LL, they all used to come to my house and we hang out all night, just sitting there, like watching video jukebox, or I'd throw some, food on the grill and whatnot, and we just sitting there, me, L, and DMC, we were the drinkers. Eric didn't drink. But me, LL, and DMC, we'd be sitting there drinking and just having a good time talking junk, the whole night, like with Heavy D, for some strange, like our first two albums, I think dropped around the same time. And we would play them for each other. Not our first, I mean, his second and my first.
Right.
But for 2 years straight, our albums dropped around the same time. And I go out to Mount Vernon to his crib, and his mother would cook. I can't remember, curry shrimp. I think I still ate chicken. It might have been curry chicken. I think I still used to eat chicken then.
Okay.
Make curry chicken, and we sit, and I'd have a 40 of beer, and he'd have water because he didn't drink either. And we sit there and listen to each other's albums and critique them.
So it was a lot of camaraderie then. It wasn't as competitive in that nature with spite or anything. It was just people out there getting their thing and camaraderie with each other.
I mean, it was all love. Everybody was having a good time with each other. Everybody. It was all, I think it was a little competitive with me and LL, but in a friendly way.
I heard that.
Like I said, we would hang with each other.
I heard that because I thought on Mama Said Knock You Out, he had a line on there on the song Mr. Goodbar where he said, well, I deliver it when your daddy ain't home, and in the background it's So it just seemed like there was a little bit of a ladies thing, and I thought you had a response. Yeah, something that you said on, I don't know if it was on Get the Job Done, but there was something that you aligned to as well. So it seemed like there was a competitive nature back there going on with that. It's before Big Daddy thing. If memory serves me correctly, the Symphony came out. Dopest. I don't even think it's arguable. I started to say arguable, but I don't think it's arguable. Dopest posse track ever in the history of hip hop, in my opinion. I think it's better than Self-Destruction. I don't even think you can compare it to that. And I don't know of another group posse chat that really measures that way.
Well, Self-Destruction is not really a posse track. Self-Destruction is more on the level of We Are the World, right, or King's Holiday,
Right. Completely agree. What was that like on the Symphony? You and G Rap have, you guys are, I mean, obviously Craig G and Master Ace, they got plenty of lyrics. Flow was intact. But you and G Rap, it just seemed like at the end of that, it seemed like, listen, it seems like throughout your career, right? It seems like you're getting pinned up with someone somehow all the time, because it went with Karis One, it went with Ra. G Rap is on the song, and from what everyone hears, you guys had friendly, competitive, back and forth battles back then in house. What's that like?
Well, see, the whole thing started because of me and G Rap. The night I recorded Raw, I had G Rap with me, and after I finished doing the song, Marley brought the track up, and me and G Rap were just spitting to the Raw beat. After Raw came out, Marley played the tape of me and G just rhyming, and people started requesting it on the Rap Attack show, like, yo, play that Kane and G joint off of Raw. Play that, they wanted to hear it more. So Marley said, yo, I need y'all to do this on my album. So it was like, okay, cool. So me and G was going to make a song on Marley's In Control album. And then when it was getting close to the time, he told us, yo, I want to put Craig G on the song too. And Craig had this song called, I hadn't heard Dropping Science yet, but he had this Duck Alert song. And I'm like, that compared to the shout rap that he did earlier, I'm like, Greg done stepped his game up. Yeah, Greg is nice. I'm right. Like, yeah, that's cool. Let's do it. At the end of the day, we took the album cover pictures and went to the studio. Like last minute, he says, oh, yo, Like he introduced Ace to us at the photo shoot, but then when we get to the studio, he says, "Oh, I want to put my man on the song too." And that's when we was like skeptical, and me and G was getting ready to bounce. You know, because we was like, you know, we don't know dude, and you know, like, nah, Marley tripping, let's get the hell up out of here. But then Ace dropped his verse, and you know, we was like, oh, yo, dude is nice. Yeah, dude is nice.
Classic track. That's a classic track. With G-Rap, do you see your career and G-Rap maybe being affiliated in the same crew? Do you see yourselves as kind of balancing one with the other? You were always kind of viewed as the lead guy in that group, but everyone from 10,000 feet probably looked at it and thought G-Rap was right there, you know, right behind you. Did you feel any of that pressure from in-house, or did it seem like you guys were just in the same crew and you guys were putting it out and it really wasn't anything like he was coming for your spot or nothing?
No. Because, I mean, you got to understand that, you know, prior to the Warner Brothers deal, me and G-Rap were the ones that Fly Tie would come to. Oh, you want a deal? You want to be signed to Cold Chillin'? Battle my man Kane. Battle my man G-Rap. Like, we were the two go-to dudes, like, you know, like where he want to show off what Cold Chillin' got. Me and G-Rap were that dudes that let you know.
Right.
You know, he was the one, we were the ones that he'd say, yo, y'all battle them. See how nice you are. So it was like, you know, we were those dudes on that level. And then when Warner Brothers picked the label up, they said, oh, we only want Shantae, Shan, and Biz. We don't want nobody else. So it was like being G sitting there like,
seriously, how you get a record deal?
Wow, you know. And then, you know, eventually when we did, you know, I guess put out the right song where Warner Brothers decided, okay, yeah, when I put out Raw, then they said, okay, yo, stop pressing it up. We're going to put it in the Color soundtrack and reissue it on Warner Brothers. And with G, I don't think it was just a demo. I can't remember what song it was, but then they eventually picked him up. But I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, it was like we was happy to finally be down, you know.
Right.
So it was like we were like, yo, brother, we finally made it. So it was love. Like me and G-Rap thing, I think was more on the lyrical thing, I guess, you know, competitive. Like, you know, we might call each other 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, and, you know, and I'm like, yo, G, check this out. I got this, you know, the best. So yes, I guess, yes. You know, the next night, you know, he might hit me up, yo, Kane, check this. I got this. The creature, feature, capture, off the teacher, you know, and it's like, that was our thing, more competitive. Like like, yeah, I got something. Yeah, don't sleep. Like, you know, that type of thing.
Right. Okay, that was like brotherly. Now, the Big Daddy thing, dude, you got Smooth Operator, you've got Warm It Up Kane, and you got I Get the Job Done. I mean, your game stepped up tremendously, not just from a lyrical perspective, but from a production perspective, from an album orientation. You know, you had a lot more songs and a lot more party anthems on that. What was the difference in making Big Daddy thing versus Long Live the Kane?
Well, I mean, making Long Live the Kane, you know, we did, you know, during that time, you know, being with Biz, I had been to places like Philly, Baltimore, North Carolina, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
LA. But by the time I made this a Big Daddy thing, you know, I had been to London, Amsterdam, Paris, you know.
Global.
I had been to Wichita, Kansas. Right. You know, I had a more global perspective. I mean, I've seen more of the world, had a bigger understanding of life than I had. Like, I had a more local understanding on Long Live the Kane. So I knew how to reach people more on the masses on It's a Big Daddy thing.
How did you approach Big Daddy thing? What was your approach? Was your approach different in that regard then, seeing that you saw more? Were you trying to purposely do more songs versus just freestyle type stuff?
Not purposely do more songs, but make the album more diverse, where I'm touching more subject matters and reaching different groups of people, you know, like trying to reach different ages, or older age and a younger age. Because I believe with this album I had The Children Are the Future.
Yep.
So I'm trying to reach the kids. I'm trying to show the older generation that's just trying to bash hip hop that is actually good hip hop. There's hip hop that can make you reflect on stuff that you remember, you know. trying to reach the women, not just men, trying to make it where black, white, Asian, Latin, we all, like it as a whole. It was like, my perspective was much bigger at that point.
Now, listen, I'm a light-skinned brother, so we had a reign for a while. For a while, we had the Albie Shores. We were just killing for a while. And
rest in peace.
Rest in peace. We went down for a while. We went down for a while. We were out there for a while, and once you came out with Big Daddy thing, and you've got the I Get the Job Done and the Smooth Operator, I swear right then, man, I don't know if it was between that and New Jack City with Nino Brown, but the game changed immediately for us. All of a sudden, we became dinosaurs. We became a dated, expired date thing with that, and I think Big Daddy thing really did that for you. I mean, you had Ain't No Stopping Us, I Get the Job Done. Just crazy stuff. And you had a lot more, it seemed like a lot more radio exposure on Big Daddy thing. Is that right?
Absolutely. Radio was just like the labels. As a new artist, they taking a chance. They don't know if people are going to take to you. They don't know what to expect. They're looking at you as a kid from the ghetto. They don't know whether you're going to curse on the air or whether, so it's the type of thing where they don't want to do interviews with you. They nervous by playing the music. But by the time the second album came, it was like, this dude has built up a fan base. I've seen, he's like, he seems articulate, so they want to mess with you more.
Now, your album and Rakim's album and KRS-One's album, we're talking the 89 era of albums. They seem to all come out comparable, within months of each other. Are you feeling the need to, on Daddy thing, to still step your game up in terms of from a competitive standpoint from your peers, mainly your Rakim's or KRS-Ones, or are you kind of past that now after the first album and you're looking to really do better songs?
It wasn't really about the albums. It was more or less about as an artist.
Okay.
It was more of the Michael Jackson Prince thing, not about the album. It's more about as an artist to surpass them as an artist. That was really more or less the mentality. So it was the type of thing where it's like, okay, Rakim, KRS-One, they're both dope MCs lyrically. I think they're both great lyrically. I've seen Eric and Rob perform. Rise, real, relaxed, monotone on stage, don't really do much. Okay, I got Scoob and Scrap. We like James Brown and the Famous Flames, like we all over the joint, jumping over each other, doing splits, flipping over the heads. It's like, our show is, phenomenal.
Right.
So, we got them on stage. So when we get to the stage, you see the difference. KRS-One, another dude is super lyrical, but not the most attractive dude in the world. Okay, I get on some smooth, sexy stuff. And I mean, this is the type of stuff, I do, as much as I love KRS.
Sure, of course, right.
After the show, he might be in the hallway, sitting there talking with people, and explaining stuff in history and all this stuff and half the time. And, I see him out in the hallway and I go in the room, throw all my jewelry on, my silk robe, my ballet slippers, and come out, but, leave the front of my robe open, so women can see, what's going on, and just come over there. Hey, what up, Chris? What's happening, baby? Hey, how y'all doing over here? Okay, I see you. What's happening? Right. All right. To do stuff like that intentionally.
Right. Are you listening Are you listening to other artists at that time? Who are you listening to at that time? What are your, going into your albums, your Big Daddy thing? Who are you listening to? What's your favorite albums and songs and things like that are getting you going?
Well, I guess motivation-wise, it would be Chi Rap, KRS, and Rakim.
Okay.
Motivation-wise, it would be them. But to clear my head, it would probably be Chubb Rock and Slick Rick. Because, it seemed like a lot of new artists were coming out, but the majority of them were either trying to sound like me or sound like Rakim.
Right.
So I don't get trapped in that hole. Lots of times I listen to, I thought that Chubb Rock was a dope MC, Slick Rick, dope MC. that had a different style. They had their own little unique flow and, flavor. So it was like a breath of fresh air, something different to listen to, so I don't get caught in that box. And, I could, still think out of it, like, okay, what I want to do next, as opposed to staying where I'm at, because that's what everybody else is gravitating to.
Kane, as a legend, as you are now, and going back in time as you're doing this, is it difficult to get to the next project? Is it difficult to maintain to outdo your last performance? You know what I'm saying? Each time, is that something that you find yourself pushing your head for new ideas, or does it kind of just come natural?
I guess a little of both, honestly. I mean, sometimes it can be difficult because you never know your fan base, Sometimes your fan base can be like, is he getting ready to do that again? And then sometimes your fan base can be stuck. Like, yo, as long as he do such and such, I'm cool.
Right.
I don't care about none of the other stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, sometimes, you never know your fan base, so sometimes it can be difficult, And then in other times it's like, you just got that mentality like, look, man, been there, did it, shit it, and wipe my ass with it.
Right.
That's what's next.
Well, as you say that, it's funny that you say that, because as you get to your next album, which is Taste of Chocolate, you have a lot more different sound on that than what's on the first two albums, and I don't know that it was.
That's not really a matter. That's not really about creativity there.
Okay.
Taste of Chocolate, Prince of Darkness, none of that's about creativity. What was going on at that point was like what I told you earlier about the situation to set it off, and I'll take you there. What happened was, again, on It's a Big Daddy thing, we had beef about a single being released. I can't remember what it was I wanted to release, and they wanted to go with the Ain't No Stopping Us Now. And at that point, I was just so frustrated with the label. Talking with my business manager about getting off, and he's like, I don't think you can. You're going to have to give him these last 3 albums. So then something just clicked in my head, 3 albums. That's easy.
Right.
So what I did was, I go in, make a song like Hard Being the Kane, which I thought, was a dope, street banger that Prince Paul did. Plus it had his little poppy edge that he was presenting on the De La Soul stuff, but it was still hard.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, we got that. We got this radio joint because I can do it right. And then, the rest of the album, whatever.
Right, okay.
Because, the more quality music I make, the longer the album going to last. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So if the album is whack, it go fast. So that's really what I was trying to do with Taste of Chocolate and with Prince of Darkness. But by the time Prince of Darkness, it's like now the streets is talking. Yo, Kane is whack, man. Yo, Kane fell off. Kane, So it's like, okay, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have did this. This was a bad decision of mine. Let me try to get this right. So I go in the studio with Track Masters, who was the hot producers at the time, Easy Mo B, who was the hot producer at the time, even Large Professor. I had Mark Spark, who was the up-and-coming new hot dude. I go in the studio with all of them to do make looks like a job for. So I got all the top-ranked producers making, hard beats, and I'm putting the hard lyrics to it, Didn't even wear nothing sexy on the cover, kept the
Just
cover
the hoodie,
color,
right? Yeah.
But the mistake was made again by me on that album, Because what was happening was, like, at that time you had Wu-Tang, Nas, Biggie, and, all the weed smokers that was high as hell rhyming behind the beat. Their flow was more, and I'm still in 1993. I'm still like,
Right.
So it was like my flow was dated. So, I mean, it wasn't, Track Masters, Large Professor, Easy Won't Be. It wasn't none of their fault. It was my fault. Because, it's like, my thing is like this here. The rhymes is hot. The rhymes is fire.
Right.
But the delivery was so dated. The delivery was the same old 88, Kane. It was dated. So, I mean, when you're hearing that next to a Method Man song or a Redman song or a Nas or Biggie song, it sound old. Even though the track is fire, it sounds like a an old dude on a on a new hot track. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So that was the mistake I made there. What looks like a job for. I mean, I think I fixed it. On Veterans Day. I think on Veterans Day,
Right.
I realized what I was doing wrong, and I started revamping my style and slowing it down, falling behind the beat more. But it was an independent album by then. I wasn't on a major, so it was pretty much too late. So it was what it was.
You know what's funny about, first of all, I've never heard you explain it that way, and it makes complete sense when you explain it that way, because we, again, as we're coming up in that era, everyone's got their own camp, everyone's riding with their artist. So I'm like, yo, oh, your man Kane's got Daddy Thing's got this, but what about Prince of Darkness? Prince of Darkness ain't messing with Chris's but all of them sound like something was changing, because Edutainment was a change. Let the Rhythm Hit Him, I felt was a change. And it seemed like the music at that time was changing. And it seemed like, as you mentioned, the Nas's.
Well, no, but them is different, because it's like without Scott LaRock, there's no one to really control Chris. And Chris is heavy into his Jamaican roots. So it's without Scott LaRock, there's no one to say, all right, look, you're just getting a little too Bob Marley.
Right.
Bring it back, And without Eric B., there's no one to control Rakim, because dude is I don't know what it is. I think he plays a saxophone or something, but his whole family is jazz musicians.
Right.
So without Eric B., his sound started getting more jazzy.
Very interesting perspective. So let me ask you this: the music then is changing, and you're seeing the change at that time, as you mentioned with Wu-Tang, Nas, Biggie, sounds like that. What are you and artists that are from the golden era of hip hop? How do you see this next generation? Because not only the sound, but the music itself. We went from Warm It Up, Kane, Naughty by Nature, Hip Hop Parade. We went from that kind of anthem, happy, nice and smooth type of flow to a lot more of a, it was hard. It was, it just seemed like everyone was smoking weed. Everyone was in the sewer. I mean, I'm in the South. I'm in college in the South. Everyone's wearing Timberland boots and jean jackets in the summer when it's 90 degrees. It just seemed like the whole image had somewhat changed, and it became this thugged out street image that wasn't necessarily the case before.
I used to like it from Ice-T, NWA, Ghetto Boys, because even though Scarface and Ice Cube are very lyrical MCs,
right?
It was a type of thing where you hear them talk all that gangster stuff. It's like, I guess you're not really looking at them as somebody that you run up on in a park jam and be like, yo, all right, well, let's see what you got, homie.
Right.
You look at them more as artists that was reflecting on their hood, like. This is how real it is in the streets of Texas. This is how real it is in the streets of Compton.
Right.
So it's like you're not expecting it to be super lyrical, even though Face was and Cube was.
Right.
But you wasn't really expecting it to be that. You're looking at it more like for what it's worth. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
When it started happening with the New York artists, I started looking at it, a little differently, because it's like, when I'm used to like knowing and understanding the greatness of Rakim, Kool G Rap, KRS-One, Chuck D, and getting to hear the potential and the skill of like a King's Son. I forget the brother from Poor Righteous Teachers, but just other artists, that
right.
Right, and even like with the new generation, your Redman, Nas, Biggie, Method Man, like. It's like, you hear it, but it got to the point where like now you got these new artists coming out. That's all I got to do is rhyme run with gun, kilo with stilo, smoke a blunt, and like flip a razor blade around on my tongue, and I'm going to be the hottest dude on the streets.
Right.
It's like the lyrics wasn't there. It was just, it just became gangster. It was like, like with the neo soul thing.
Right.
Like how dope Erykah Badu and D'Angelo was with their music and this here new style, and how they was reviving, the vintage soul in a modern way with a modern twist to it. And it was so beautiful. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you just start seeing a bunch of,
dudes and chicks that was alright with it, lighting incense and running around barefooted, claiming the same, neo soul thing, but they just didn't have it.
Right.
And it just destroyed that whole movement,
Do you think it was the record labels? Was it? Do you think the labels and the backings are pushing this, or do you think that the artists just?
Absolutely. I mean, that's always the case.
Okay.
That's always the case. I mean, just like right now, like when people say that hip hop is dead and there's no real MCs out there. I mean, it's like that's not true. I mean, Kendrick is a real MC. J. Cole is a real MC. Logic is a real MC. Chris Rivers is a real MC. There's a lot of talented MCs out there that got skill. It's just that the labels ain't pushing them the right way, or radio is not supporting their music.
Right.
They'd rather play the more commercial stuff.
Yeah, Kane, you're giving a lot of jewels right now, and around that same time, there, Jay came, and I know you, Jay, you were big on bringing Jay out, Jay-Z, that is, and getting him, put him on your album, and really got him to some of the places that he got to. But there was comparisons in that next phase of hip hop that we're talking about now, where the general public is viewing the Nas, Biggie, and Jay-Z as the next three great era passed down from the Ra, Kane, and KRS-One. And listen, I'm gonna say this, and people are gonna jump out the window when I say this, and you may jump out the window when I say this. I don't always put Biggie in the same category, not because he's not lyrical, but the body of work. To me, you have to have 2 albums. If any artist, stops performing after 2 albums,
I say the same thing. Like when people refer to him as the greatest, I say that I think that Biggie was great, and I saw the potential and where he was about to go, and I think that he could have became maybe the greatest, had he lived longer.
Right.
But based on 2 albums, that's impossible to say that. I mean, there's just like when people ask me about female MC, I mean, you ask me who's my favorite female MC of all time, I go with MC Lyte.
Right.
Now, understand, I've heard Lauryn Hill say some slicker stuff than Lyte.
Right.
But based on the body of work, I can't go with Lauryn because she hasn't put out enough product. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Lyte has. I've seen Lyte, like where, okay, time that went by, you come back and you came back hard.
Right.
I've seen Lyte where she stepped up, and battled Antoinette, and ended Antoinette's career.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I've seen Lyte do a stage show where it was okay, go back, regroup, put together a better stage show, come back, hit them hard.
Right.
So it's like, I've seen her greatness.
All right,
you know what I'm saying? So I have to go with her.
Now tell me if I'm so we agree on that. Tell me if I'm jumping out the window, because everyone in New York, and I'm a New York guy. I'm from New York, Bronx. I'm New York all day. But I would really put Nas, Jay, and I really would arguably put Tupac as the third leg in that. And I know that his lyrical acumen.
He is.
Okay.
He is. Here it is. I feel like that family tree works like this. That conscious rapper with skills that set it off was Melly Mel.
Right.
Who birthed KRS-One, who birthed Tupac.
Mm.
I feel like that slick talking MC with different flows and rapid fire was Grandmaster Caz, who birthed Big Daddy Kane, who birthed Biggie, but Biggie didn't last, and Jay-Z took that spot.
Mm.
And then you have that, the other lyrical dude that used a bunch of big words and very astrological, all that stuff, with Kumo D, who birthed Rakim, and who Rakim birthed Nas.
Mm. The big three.
But that's the way I think it go. I would put Biggie and Jay in the same class as students of mine, and me as a student of Caz. It's just that the spot was there for Biggie. He didn't last, and Jay-Z took the spot.
And see, I think that's reasonable. See, I don't. I know people will disagree, and and listen. I mean, no disrespect to Biggie. Biggie is lyrical. He had a lot of lyrics, but I really don't think you can. It's 2 albums. Like I would even put Pac in there. I know Pac passed away as well, but Pac's material that he had albums upon albums upon albums upon albums.
Pac was dropping like 4 albums a year,
right?
Something like that. I don't know what the hell that is.
It make you question if he was even dead at that point. When you hear albums just coming back at that time, and they were better. They were very, very good. I know he's not as lyrical as we may say like Nas or Jay, but he was lyrical, and he did battle, and he did put up songs that there wasn't necessarily responses to.
And then I'm sorry, I left someone out too, because I mean, not only KRS came from Melly Mel, also that's where Chuck D comes from. Right.
Now, Chuck D, do you see Chuck as like, obviously he's not a lyricist in that regard, but he's got the most, arguably the highest respect probably in hip hop of probably anyone. What is it like, being around guys like Chuck D, PE, and, throughout the years?
What I love about Chuck is like what he symbolizes is something like back in the days, what he symbolizes is something that would make me behave. Like in situations where I'm ready to act a fool and chuck around, I just chill because he's such a good dude, Like that's the type of respect I have for Chuck, man, And I do think that, I think that Chuck is a great lyricist. I just think that what it is that Chuck is one of those first generation lyricists that didn't get his shine until our era. Had Chuck came out during the Melly Mel, Kumo D. Grandmaster Caz era, you would look at him like, yo, that dude is a monster.
Right.
But Chuck, I think Chuck is a great lyricist.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Self-Destruction Project. Kane, you weren't on that. What happened with that?
I was lied to because I was told that it was all happening this one particular day, and if I couldn't be there that day, I couldn't be on it. And I believe I had a show that day. But I mean, I found out years later that I don't know whether I think it might have been Chuck D who did his vocals on another day. Like I could have ddid the vocals a different day.
Okay. So it wasn't something that you weren't trying to.
Somebody from my label lied to me and told me that they doing everything that day. You ain't gonna be able to make it because you're gonna be in such and such. I guess because they didn't want me, because I guess so much from the label, they didn't want me on a song with KRS probably, and just lied to me and told me that.
Did you ever feel like, we've never really see this, I can't recall seeing this where we've had a big three at one time, on a song together. I know you and Chris and G-Rap eventually did a song on a Tony Touch project some years later, but did you ever envision a song with you, Rakim, and Chris in your primes, or was that just something that there was no way in the world that was going to happen?
I knew that wasn't going to happen. I mean, I've done a song with KRS.
Right.
I've done 2 songs with KRS.
Right.
But I already knew that a song with me and Rakim would never happen. Ever since that Rap Mania thing, I knew that. I knew then that me and this dude probably never ever work together.
All right, Kane, let me ask you this on some of the new current stuff that's going on now. We're talking about, obviously everyone's been talking about Remy Ma, She Ether, Nicki Minaj. What's your take on that?
I mean, I thought that the song was dope, I mean, I'm not big on, people talking about people personal stuff.
Right.
I mean, I thought that the song was dope. I just think the only mistake that she made was naming it Sheetha. I mean, I get the, what she, Nas had Ether and she's a female, so Sheetha, that's slick, clever. But I mean, with the rhymes that she spit on there, I mean, she bodied it. Only problem is like right now, Ether is relevant.
Right.
Like 5 years from now, I don't see that being relevant for the simple fact that she named it Sheetha.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's like she should have owned it on her own. So, like, even if she started with the Ether beat and the flow, so like she should have switched to a different track, something that she could own. Where it's like, in history, this the song she bodied Nicki with.
Right. Right. That's exactly.
You know?
I feel the same. I feel exactly the same way. I think even when we talked the Jay-Z and the Nas beef, what I liked about the beginning of it is you got Takeover, which is really a response from Nas's Illmatic freestyle, which is off the Paid in Full instrumental. That's not gonna last. It's a freestyle. It ain't gonna be there. But Takeover's gonna be there forever. Ether's gonna be there, and Jay's response after that on Super Ugly. It's like you're using Nas's, beat. It just doesn't work that way. I would have preferred for her to do a song that's there, that they're gonna play in the club. It's gonna be there forever. If they ever play The Bridge Is Over, that's what's gonna play. That's what's gonna be on there forever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like a new thing with this, this younger generation to like the whole pay homage by using someone's stuff. But I mean, it's like it makes it difficult for you to own it down the line. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel as a legend? Do you feel that you get the proper respect due from your peers and the younger generations? Because now we're kind of past the Jay-Z, Nas, and that era, and we're more into the J. Cole's, Kendrick's, and that regard. Do you feel that guys from your era, from that golden era, that really, and I can't stress this enough because that's really, we're talking about a time when they didn't even want to play rap on the radio. We're talking about a time when you had to be Friday night, Saturday night, BLS or Kiss just to get rap music. The only thing they were playing on the radio was, your Fresh Prince not Fresh Prince, your Parents Don't Understand, and a lot of the happy songs. You guys paid a lot of dues to kind of get us here. Politically speaking, with artists like Chuck D, KRS-One, lyrically speaking, and showmanship, artists like you, artists like Rakim, Heavy D and the Boys. How do you feel the music is in today's world to legends such as yourself?
I mean, I see stuff from, who was it? Wiz Khalifa, Chris Rivers, like Logic, man. He like embraced me like a big brother, like I was his big brother, Yeah, I mean, from some,
Okay.
Yeah. I guess there's a younger generation that has this mentality, of like, F them old dudes, man, they ain't popping no more, they ain't relevant no more. It's my world now. There's a lot of cats like that now, but but that's cool though. I ain't tripping on that because I see a lot of them dudes, make a whole lot of money, and I'm so happy for them, to see them come out of the ghetto and be successful, But 2-3 years down the line, they've forgotten,
right?
And this makes 30 years of me still doing what I do on the road. I'm on tour right now. I'm still working, so we may have different definitions of relevancy.
See, that's what gets me. What gets me is I don't understand why hip hop has to be the only, and I feel like it's corporate. I feel like it's labels, and I feel like it's pushed from that end. I don't know why we have to be the only, one of the only genres in music that doesn't necessarily respect our elders. That doesn't necessarily, really embrace the people that lay down the foundation. And we've got this thing where, if this person hasn't released a hit album on a major label, in the last 5 years, he's outdated. He's no longer relevant. Like the term relevant is just I don't understand the term relevant. I really, I hear that.
You got to understand, we come from an era where, you had cats like myself, LL, Chuck D, Public Enemy rather. So many others where it's like, we had record deals where like, we sell such and such amount of albums, then, you have to increase the points that we get. You have to increase the album advance and this and that, we have X amount of videos guaranteed to us. It was a different era. And then it's like, we might put out a third album that flopped, but you contractually obligated to put out another 2 more albums on us.
Right.
Where now, they're doing these deals with cats where, it might just be for just one album.
Right.
It might be for one album. And they're telling you how to sound, what producers to work with,
and making you do what they want you to do, and that's what they playing. And then it pop for whatever, and then they get rid of you and just find someone else to do the same exact thing you do. That way, they don't have to worry about giving you a bigger cut next time around or whatever. Now, if you blow, then yeah, you blow, yeah, they gonna hold on to you. Right. But if you did all right, they made theirs. Go ahead, man. Get up on out of here. We're going to get someone else to do the same thing, and they can just flush you in and out and just keep it flowing like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, listen, I agree.
Your career ain't important to them. So it's where the label has a much better control over the artist now. Where back then, it was like, you don't know what type of music we're going to make in the studio and hand to you at the end of the day and say, this is my album, and you got to figure out a way to work it. And whatever happens, if it blow, you got to give me more money. If it don't, you still got to keep me until this contract is over.
Jay-Z versus Nas. People say that would have been Kane versus Rakim back years ago. Do you see that as the case or no?
No.
What would the difference be?
I don't think I would have went at Nas that way. Mm. See, the Jay-Z Nas battle, I think, would have been me and Rakim, but reverse. You see what I'm saying? Because Rakim is a deep thinker. So I could have seen him being the one trying to break down my career.
Right.
I would have been the one to clown him. Because you see, my thoughts would have been this, this is a serious dude. He's known as the nobody's smiling and, I ain't no joke and all this here. So now put him in a situation where you are the joke. You see what I'm saying?
I see exactly what you're saying.
So now you're uncomfortable. Because it's like, it's like, I mean, I'm not Mike Tyson. I'm Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? I'm not coming in there to swing, punches and land out, knockout blow. Right. I'm coming in there to break you down.
Man, I tell you, man, Kane, Big Daddy Kane, I appreciate you coming out, man. We appreciate you being on here. #BasementFlowIsReal, man. You are a legend. We'd love to get you back again. Is there anything you want to tell the viewership before we head out of here?
Well, hey, man, you can find me on Twitter at Big Daddy Kane and Facebook and Instagram, official Big Daddy Kane. And if you need to see my tour dates, my website is BigDaddyKane.com.
We're going to put that up there, man. Thanks for the time. Ladies and gentlemen, #BasementFlowIsReal. My name's Dave Cannon, here with the legendary Big Daddy Kane. Peace. We're out of here.
Peace.